Back King Normer here to talk about allegories in the Bible. Matter of fact, we just gonna go through the Bible. Alright. What's going on, my brother?
Hotep. What's up, family? Peace, peace. Today it's gonna be a little bit of interview about the Bible and what we believe to be true. So let's kind of go in on it. Brother Kufa Shabazz is going to give me a series of questions in this interview. We're going to kind of just go in on the Bible.
Alright, let's start on Genesis 1. Give us your thoughts about Genesis, the first chapter.
Well, first of all, how can all these things be created without light? A lot of things that came into creation were created before the sun existed, when in fact that you can't get no part of life without the light or the sun. So that right there within itself is a contradiction.
Alright, okay. Now what about Adam and Eve, the Adam and Eve story?
Well, it was just like you said. You had made mention before about the Adam and Eve story in one of your previous lectures, and you said that there were two people. In other words, there were two guys. In the Hebrew, it made mention of two different guys, but they took it out in the King James Version of the Bible. But before there was Adam and Eve, it was Adam and Lilith, because it makes mention in the Bible that it says in the Bible, let's make them in our image. So when they say them, they're talking about a male and a female. And Lilith was actually Adam's first wife, according to the Bible. And she was demonized for not bending to the will of the man. Secondly, the Adam and Eve story is an allegory, because the Adam and Eve story on a metaphysical level has to deal with the Kundalini energy. And the serpent represents wisdom and healing, because with God will keep a person from knowledge. Secondly, we're talking on religious mythology, then the Adam and Eve story can be taken from the walls of Kemet in the temple of the temple of, I want to say Dendra, to be for sure. I want to say Dendra, but I know it's in Cairo, Egypt, and it basically shows a depiction of King Ramses III and Seshat, who's the goddess of wisdom and writing. So if you look at the story, it shows that the goddess Seshat gave an apple, or not necessarily an apple, but forbidden fruit or fruit from the tree of wisdom to King Ramses to give him wisdom and knowledge to better rule his throne and to have more intuition upon his enemies and know how to defeat his enemies. So in our story, in the Kemetic story or the Egyptian story, it was a woman that initiated the man into knowledge, and it wasn't a woman that was the man's downfall. So when you understand these correlations, you understand that the Bible was written for a purpose, and it has a reason behind it, because it's meant to overthrow a group of people and keep a group of people mentally enslaved. So, you know, when you try to find yourself in the Bible and try to use the Bible as a DNA book, that's when you make your biggest mistake. Because when you worship anything outside of yourself, you then become the principal agent of your own destruction. So it's like when you're trying to find yourself in this Bible, trying to use it as a DNA test, it doesn't work, because then you believe that you're cursed because you're the children of Ham. And you know, that's like a horrible trick to play on the people when you take it to the literal level.
Hell yeah. Now, when I think about Adam and Eve, I think about Adam in the form as Adam, Atom.
Oh, most definitely. There is a God complex.
Yeah.
According to the Kemetics or to the Egyptians, Atum was the first man created, or that created himself. According to Christianity or religion, Adam is the first man created from dust or from clay. But according to science, that 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons are the making of an atom. And that we are carbonated dust, melanated, carbonated dust that were made of light. We are light children. We come from the stars. We are all stardust, so to speak. But that doesn't say that we're combustible. So in actuality, we are 9 supreme netter beings. We are gods and goddesses, or netters and netterus, because God is a German word, or a German concept. So that's a European concept. And you have to understand that Western religion can be seen as a dogma, or it can be seen as being dogmatic. And that when I say African religion, I mean more of a taboo, because it was a way of life. So it was something that was natural.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay. And what about Eve, as form as the evolution?
Well, exactly. From the atom, we evolved.
Yeah.
And Eve can stand for evolution, or she can stand for pre, because Christmas Eve comes before Christmas. New Year's Eve comes before New Year's. So that is to say that the woman came before the man, because there's no damn way that a woman came from a man's rib.
And she's the continuum of all.
Alright. What you say, my brother?
And she's the continuum of all.
The continuum of.
Real talk.
Okay, I feel
Real talk.
that. Alright, then we get down to their seeds. We got Cain and I got the serpent. Let's touch on the serpent.
But it's like this. In Christianity, they demonize the serpent and say it's a bad thing. But in ancient times, the serpent represented healing and wisdom, and it still represents healing. Because whenever you see the medical staff or the medical symbol, you see 2 serpents spiraling up, because the Kundalini energy spirals up and it comes down. The feminine and the masculine principle. The yin and the yang.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now let's get on Cain and Abel.
Oh, Cain and Abel. Man, let's get it.
Yeah.
Okay, according to the Bible, Cain slayed Abel. Is that correct?
That's what they say. I mean, yeah, that's what they say.
And then Cain found a wife. Isn't that correct?
Yep.
According to the Bible.
Yeah.
And that Cain found a wife and found a people in the land of Nod. According to the Bible.
Right.
Is this correct?
That's correct.
Man, where the hell did them people come from?
Alright, but look, okay, now hold on. In Genesis 1, he created some people.
Ooh,
He did create some people.
So then he always knew that there was a concept of other people existing
Yeah.
in this earth or in the universe. So even back then they knew there was more people, because Cain even said that I gotta be careful where I go, for these other people, they might slay me.
Yeah.
So he knew there was other. Ooh, I like that one, brother.
I mean,
bad.
and we all Genesis 1, it's already got deep.
That's real talk. But if we're dealing with religious mythology and timeline,
Yeah.
in religious mythology, then it is derived from the Cain. Well, not the Cain and Abel, but the Cain and Abel story is derived from the story of Asar or Osiris and Set, because Osar, out of the 4 brothers and sisters, which is Asar or Osiris, Set, Aset or Isis, and Nephis. Out of them four, Osiris and Isis, or Asar and Aset, became the next to be on the throne. Set, he had got jealous of his brother. So in an attempt, he ended up slicing up Osiris into 14 different pieces. And Aset, which was his sister and wife, but in a royal manner, and Nephis gathered the pieces of his body, put them back together. And everything was found except for the 14th piece, which was his phallus. So she put the 13 pieces back together, and she hovered over his body, put him together, and she turned into a crow. And she basically ejaculated over where his penis would be, forming an immaculate conception, impregnating herself, and her being the first one to have an immaculate birth. So then Mary wasn't the first virgin, it was actually Isis or Aset. But actually the word virgin doesn't mean a woman who has not had sex yet. It simply means a woman who has not had birth. Okay. So, you know, if you understand religious mythology, if you understand religious mythology and if you do your homework, you will know that it comes from the story of Aset and Set, or Osiris and Set.
Okay. Let me hit you with this. What you think about this?
Hit me with it.
Now, Cain and Abel. It's just dealing with the human body. You got a left hemisphere of your brain, you got a right hemisphere of your brain. And they deal with two different forms of your personality. Like you deal with your logic on the right, on the left, and deal with your creativity on the right. So, and then I feel like we should be dealing more with the right hemisphere of our brain, with more creativity.
Well, the problem is, when we get caught in the book, it keeps us on that 8 or 10% of the left hemisphere of the brain that we use, and not tapping into the 9% of the Christ-like consciousness that we should be using, opening up our pineal gland, decalcifying our pineal gland, and representing or working with the Kundalini energy and balancing the chakras.
Yeah.
So it's the reason why they keep you caught in a book, because if I can trap you in a book, you'll never use your peripherals to get outside of a book, and I can keep you mentally enslaved.
Right.
Not knowing that you are so much more than a book, and then this earth. You are just a speck in the universe, the multiverse, and parallel universes. Understand that there are many books. Yeah. And not just that this earth is just existence. There is a whole universe out there that's something way bigger than a book that man wrote.
Man definitely wrote it. But look.
Man even tries to put a wall on the universe.
I'm gonna play devil advocate. Now look, let's play, we playing telephone in school. Alright, it's gonna start off with the truth. But by the time it get down to everybody else, to that last line, some bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's how religion has been. Like, it's some truth in the motherfucking Bible. But they done mixed it up so well. Like, I can hit you with that Cain, I can hit you with the Adam being atom. I'm saying, we said the same shit. Because you breaking it down on the Kemetic scale.
And then if you want to talk about Jacob, he can refer to Dr. Yakub. So like everything's connected in the Bible.
Now
Farrakhan talks about this. I mean, he makes mention of it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had it in his book and made mention of it.
Yeah.
And like they even talk about the island of Peline. And there's even a cartoon on it that shows you. I'm talking about like he just showed you the truth.
Yeah.
Check it out, and it shows you Dr. Yakub about him being down in the island of Peline, but they give it a different name. Yeah. About him actually taking from the black gene cell, creating the white gene cell, okay, and having them as entertainment. I mean, man, it is deep. Damn. But they put the truth right in front of your face, but the truth is so unrealistic and it's stranger than fiction that you wouldn't believe the truth even if it was like put right in front of your face. Yeah. Because we're so used to living a lie. You know, we get caught up in a book, up in the Bible, but ask yourself this. In school, wasn't we taught that any historical books has dates? Where are the dates in the Bible?
It's dates in the Bible, but they are bullshit. But look, it's
oh no! I'm not saying that because according to them, we're no more than 8,000 years old. So everything started in 4 BC.
Yeah.
So that's to say that anything before that is considered myth. Right. Let me ask you this: if Adam and Eve were here today, the most they can be is 6,000 to 8,000 years old. The Sphinx or her Imaket is anywhere from 18,000 to 90,000 years old. Who built it? And it could have been Adam and Eve, because that prick, hell, King Norman himself. This dude so old they can't even date this man.
Right.
They gotta keep pushing up dates and making shit up.
Carbon dating ain't exact. They don't know how old shit
What's
is.
Carbon's date ain't exact.
Carbon dating ain't exact. They'll tell you that shit ain't 100%.
So if it's truth, so if it's not truth, why do people follow it?
Because you got to understand that he who controls the printed page controls the thinking of the age. If I can put it in the book and control the masses with it and tell you it's the truth, man, I can make you believe any and everything that I want.
Anything.
Anything that I want.
So when do freedom arise?
Once we start freeing our minds, because the definition of free
Pay more attention
or
to each other.
freedom can be derived from the base word being free. And to be free is to be mentally free, or to be saved in your mind, or to have salvation of your mind, or have like a calmness and one with the mind in your higher self. So people say that they're saved. I don't see how they can be saved, bro, when they have a fear of going to hell and have a concept of being born a sinner, and that some dude with a pitchfork is somewhere in the core or in the center of the earth waiting for you for the time of your judgment. So it's kind of like playing like a mind game on people, you know. And truthfully, you have to be sensitive when we're talking to things like this, because there aren't brothers and sisters that are on our level of ascension yet. So you have to be careful with our words and not try to down what they believe, because it's okay to believe, but let's break down the word believe.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They playing semantics though. At the end of the day,
It's all word magic.
It's all wordplay.
I mess with the Bible, but I know they're playing semantics with my people though. At the end of the day, and that's how I ride. So
Learn words, you learn.
Well, let's go on to the
That's-
story of Samson, because the story of Samson,
okay.
I misapplied it for many years. Been on the literal level, even getting conscious, I still took it to the literal level and still
Right.
misapplied it and didn't get the esoteric meaning of it.
Fact.
Not necessarily that he lost his human strength when he got his hair cut off, but he lost his esoteric and spiritual strength and his cosmic energy, because your hair are cosmic antennas with the universe. So in a sense, when you cut your hair, you are decreasing your frequencies and your vibrations with the universe, because those are your cosmic antennas. So in an esoteric sense, when you cut his hair off, cut off, so to speak, his wisdom, as the old heads would say. Like, no, baby, I can't cut my hair. That's my wisdom.
That's my
It's
wisdom.
a reason for them.
You gonna
things.
lose your
So
strength?
when you understand that, like, damn, it does make sense now. But I had to learn to not take the Bible on the literal level. I had to come revisit the Bible after being hurt,
Yeah.
and understand that, damn, it's a spiritual book. It has metaphysical, it's a esoteric meaning. It's a Masonic book. It has occult science and occult magic. It's a magical book.
Yeah.
You know, so when you understand on these levels, it's like, hold up, can't throw it away just yet. I might use it to do a ritual real quick. You know what I mean?
So the story of Samson, people will take that as mythology. Now let's get into Jesus, cause we gonna run out of tape, cause I know Jesus gonna take away.
Man, let's talk about Moses. Let's
You
get
are,
on
oh,
Moses.
you want Moses? Okay, yeah. All right, Moses gone.
Ain't Moses older than Jesus?
In the
Moses is older than Jesus.
Ain't Moses before Jesus?
yes, he
Yeah,
did.
Moses definitely.
He's like he is. He predates Jesus by a lot, by like 4,000 to 6,000
But
years.
this is another mythological story.
But peep this out though. If we're going off comedic science, then he's stolen from Tutmosis, who did historically exist, who is buried in the Valley of the Kings. Now, let's get on this Moses character. They say that this guy Moses was trained in all the ways of the Egyptians. What did he learn? Did he learn the 42 laws of Ma'at? Did he learn the 7 hermetic, Kemetic principles of Ma'at? You know, did he study under Imhotep, who's the first genius, who devised the first altar ever, which is called the Pyramid of Dozier, which is also the first Masonic lodge ever, and that all Masonic lodges are formed after that one, which in a sense, when they speak of the Tower of Babylon, they're actually talking about the Pyramid of Dozier. So, like, what are we talking about here? What did Moses learn? And then how can Moses learn or speak anything if he had a speech impediment? And that Aaron had to speak for him. So, you gotta understand these things. You know, like, it's a lot of contradictions with Moses, you know. Let's get into Moses. This is a guy who supposedly died and nobody found his body. Why can't nobody find these people's damn bodies? And then why, for the ones that did live, why didn't the people in Kemet or Egypt make sufficient rooms and spaces for the and sarcophagus for these prophets? Because all of our kings are buried, but where are all their prophets? Why did you get Solomon? You know, why did you get these people? What's going on? You know, I'm confused, man.
Let me. All right. Let me.
They had mob ties. They burned down their body.
Look. Let me play
So
that.
Christians,
Let me play devil advocate.
Man, get it how you live.
They found the body.
Did they? How did they possibly find the body if he was buried in the land of Moab?
You just said they found the body.
How did they found the body? Look. How could they find anything if this man was buried in the land of Moab and the body was never found?
You just said they found the body. You said it was Tutmosis.
Oh. Well, okay, most definitely.
Woo.
Most definitely, if we're talking about
Yeah.
Kemetic pharaohs, but according to this creature named Moses,
Yeah.
how in the hell could they find anything if his body was never found? You know, so you know, it's like a misconception here that how can this guy historically exist or physically exist if there's no proof or no records? Like, where is the family lineage of any of these people mentioned in the Bible?
He could be Tutmosis, bro.
Man, where are the documentations?
I might be growing this beard for it. I might be a Hebrew Israelite after this, bro, man.
Where they cousins?
You dig what I'm saying? You dig what I'm saying? And then on top of that, how could he write the first 5 books of anything if he died? Or like, how can he later write about his death? So it's like, there had to be like a second person or individual writing these things that they ain't telling us about.
It could
You know
be
what I mean?
Tutmosis, like you said.
Real talk. And then on top of that, how could this man Moses come down with 10 commandments or 652 laws of anything if he killed 2 of Pharaoh's guards and was on the run and hiding for 40 years?
Okay, look, that's how you know it's an allegory, though.
You
'Cause
dig
look,
what I'm saying?
Moses
Makes no
gonna
sense.
walk down with 652 tablets at one time. He had to come back and forth
You dig what I'm
and
saying?
get them laws and come back and go back, climb back up
You
them
dig what
mountain.
I'm saying? And then my favorite part of the Bible is when God says something about this or that when nobody's around to record this shit. That's just amazing.
Yeah, now I feel you on that.
That's just amazing.
Yeah, it gotta be. It was some stories around at that time.
Is it thought? Are they
It's,
trying to say that it's thought?
now this is how I feel about Moses, though. I feel like I feel like everybody in the Bible is us. Everything is trying to tell you about
Because
yourself.
we existing in thought right now.
Yeah, consciousness.
You feel me?
And
Yeah.
then if you want to talk about Noah's Ark, that can be derived from the Mesopotamian text and the Babylonian Sumerian text, because you have Atrahasis and you also have the Gilgamesh epic. So you know there's a lot of correlations here to where you can see where these stories are taken from. And then if you want to use common sense, if he took 2 or 1 of every animal from everywhere around the continent and whatnot, then when he arrived to the new land, how did them damn penguins survive?
How did the carnivores eat?
You
Right.
dig what I'm saying? How is this possible? So when you take thought to it, like they'll tell you that they found a Noah's Ark. That's a damn lie, because they'll put anything on National Geographic and have you believe of it, even because all the shit
Yeah,
on TV
it
is
did
owned by
do that.
5 damn families. They create your reality. It's
Right.
the tell lie vision. They create your fear and your reality. You believe everything you see,
Everything.
without challenging the validity of it and checking to see if it's a first or second hand source. You dig what I'm saying? But there was a King Khufu who did have a ship or have a boat that did sell the seas, and it is proven and it is housed in Egypt.
I like that name. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Moving
So-
on,
I
man.
like that.
You dig what I'm saying? So
That nigga, bro.
there are historical records and there are correlations where a lot of these stories are derived from. And if you do your religious mythology in your studies, you'll see where all these stories come from. They're just stories, but they're meant to have a moral point. Quit taking it on the literal level.
Yeah.
That's where you start getting your feelings hurt for no reason.
No
Because then
reason.
you want to take on the sole property of the Bible. Want to be these people in this book. You know what I mean?
Facts. Can we go to Jesus now?
Man, let's go to Jesus.
All
Let's go to Jesus.
right, Jesus was born to Mary and Joseph.
Okay.
Now, when I get at it, remember, I was like
Mama's baby, daddy's mate.
Sagittarius, Capricorn. Where would you keep your goat and your horse?
In the stable.
In a manger. Yeah, stable, manger.
It's all based off astrology.
Yeah.
Them damn 3 wise men had to follow damn star to be able to find the Savior or the Christ or the Anointed One. That right there is astronomy and astrology within itself.
This is his birth.
They had a dagnab shoot an azimuth using the damn stars. That's land navigation, brother.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to the Kemetic story, the Temple of Hathor, and Hathor is the cow or Sekhmet. And if you see in any Kemetic wall or story or on the walls, you'll see that cow. And that's another reason why they show that cow for the symbolism. You dig what I'm saying? But like you said, it's also based off astrology, because Osiris, Odin, Enki, O'Neill, Enlil, all of them people are based off Orion's belt. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's the way that we explained to our children back in those days through astrology and astronomy. We metamorphosized it and put a face to it. Because you're not going to understand that it takes a certain amount of time for the sun to orbit around the universe and to do this and do this without putting a face to it like Hathor and Sekhmet and things like that, and explain it in a story, you know. Then it shows in the temples that she spits out the sun and that's been reborn every day, and it shows the moon phase going through her as well. That's a feminine principle, and it has the masculine in principle, through the feminine principle that has the masculine and the feminine nature.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's like it's all astrology. That's why there are 12 followers in every religious mythology or in every religious path or in every culture. Even with the Kemetic science, even with the Native Americans, they had 12 written in their tribe because they can represent the months, it can represent the zodiacs, and it can represent the 12 disciplines of the mind. So it's like, man, it's all connected. It's all connected.
So Jesus,
Same story, same people.
Same everything.
Jesus born, and Jesus leaves at 13.
Oh, they don't mention this because if they're stuck in that Bible, then they can go to that Quran and learn about the 18 years that Jesus did Christ, did other works around the world.
Okay.
But when you're stuck in one book, you can't get nothing in the other book. Like Abraham in the Bible is Ibrahim in the Quran, because in order for the Quran in Mohammedanism or Islamism to even be religion, they had to accept the major prophets in Christianity. You know what I mean? It's all connected. But even the Muslims tell you that's a spiritual book because they know they can't go into that historical shit. Even some of the best scholars like Dr. Ali Muhammad, they know when they get in debates, they gotta go on the spiritual aspect and say that's for a moral point to make people live better, like a set of rules or standards or way of life. They can't go on that historical shit because they know that politely in that ass all the time. That's real shit. Shaq Agnos as well. Shout out inside their studio. You dig what I'm saying? That's how it be. But that's real talk. That's real talk.
Okay, so Jesus comes back. 33. I know Jesus kicked a little butt. Yeah, whooped the money changers that was in the temple. He beat them up. Got them up out of there.
You gotta understand, he can be a jealous God. He can be the God of war.
Yeah.
He can be the son, for I am a son. You know, it even says in the Bible that you're God. So it's like, people try to use the Bible as like a bag of trail mix. They want to take certain things out and get what they want to get. But it's like, it's a lot of stuff in there that'll blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of stuff in that Bible that you don't know exists.
Okay, now they about to kill Jesus. Blasphemy. Said he's the son of God. We are the sons of
We are the sons of God. And when we come together, we form Christ-like consciousness. Because Christ is not a name, it's a title. We're all the Christ. And in this life, it's meant for us to put materialistic things to the side and focus on our higher ascension or our spiritual self. Not to say that the materialistic isn't necessary, because that is with your lower self and your materialistic needs. But at the same time, don't let that control you or block you for your further ascension. And that is one thing that blocks the third eye and the crown chakra, is materialistic things. And it can be blocked by illusion as well, so you gotta have a clear mind of what's going on. Because a lot of us are stuck in this matrix and don't know what's going on. We think everything before us that's presented before us is real. We gotta have a spirit of discernment. You got to.
You know, I just thought people be wearing a cross. Okay, because we about to talk about Jesus' death now.
Let's talk about that 33 first. That
33? Oh, yeah.
It's a very powerful number. It's
Yeah,
a natural number in numerology, and it's 33 degrees in Freemasonry. And then on top of that, it's also 33 vertebrae up the spine to where Christ consciousness dwells. So it's a lot of cult meaning and cult science behind it. But they'll never give you the hardcore science. They just give you the idiotic level. Like the initiate might not know too much because he's just starting. But the adept's pretty skilled. But the priest is doing witchcraft right in front of your damn face.
The priest knows. They know this stuff.
Playing crazy. Watch. You talk about me doing witchcraft and voodoo. What the hell you think he's doing over that altar? He got all four of the elements. He got his chime bringing it in for spirit. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He's doing the same damn thing. He got his liquor. Doing the same damn thing. He's got a nice little robe.
Okay, yeah, we're going to have to come back with a part 2, y'all.